Hello, beautiful people of the internet. My name is Ryan. Welcome, salve, friend, and welcome to the Forgotten City. This is episode 13 of our blind playthrough, and I think this is the loop. In the last episode, we got Galerius elected. We freed Dooley. We received the 4th plaque. We should have all 4 plaques in our inventory right now, as well as 17,000 denarius. Holy shit. And it's finally the loop. It's time to figure things out. We're going to go put all 4 plaques on the obelisk and go from there. I guess the question here is... we also do probably need to check out this Heart of Gold thing. Unlock the upper cistern with Dooley's key. We've been there? And I'm a little bit confused about why that's the task, but we'll try it. After that, it's time to figure out if we want to do this or speak to Equitia. So maybe let's do this. We'll go with Heart of Gold first. Let's have Galerius do his duty. Hi, Galerius. Salve. I need you to do. I need you to do some things.
I'm listening.
It's old hat by now.
All right.
Go. Cool. And then we are going to go into the upper cistern and check out this key. I feel like we saw almost everything. I mean, I may be misremembering. It's been a while. I feel like we explored the entire upper cistern. So I wonder what...
Don't believe a word they tell you.
What Dooley's treasure is. We'll find out. I think it's this way, then off to the left. The other thing I'm thinking as we go here, the reason I really want to do this Heart of Gold thing, even though I think this might be backtracking, is if you wade against the current, the cistern, if you want to wade against the current, the cistern is a dang good place to start, right? Most likely. Unlock. Okay. Ventilla's weeping. Heart of Gold has been... cool. So that's done. Heart of Gold has been selected. Should we speak with Scintilla? I don't think it'll hurt anything to do it, right?
Who are you? Did he send you?
I'm a little indigestion. Nobody sent me.
Don't you know you're here? You have to help me escape before that monster comes back.
I know, we've had this conversation before.
What? God, am I going out of my mind? Are you going to let me go or not?
I'm sorry, but if I let you go, everyone else is going to die.
What? No. You can't just leave me here. How can you be so heartless?
I'm not sure what to do. With you, Scintilla. Have I tried? I don't think I've tried releasing her. What happens if we do try? I'll let you go, forget the others, let's get out of here. Now is the time to fuck around and find out, right? Like we've solved everything as far as we know. We know the mystery of the Forgotten City, minus the maybe final actions. Let's try it. I've changed my mind. I'll let you go. Forget the others. Let's get out of here.
Oh, thank you. Now follow... Wait. Did you hear that? He's here. He must be coming in through the door behind me. You
That door?
distract him. Stay right here and keep him talking while I look for something I can use.
You're going to kill him. Oh, hello.
What did you do with Scintilla? Where
That
is
zoom
she?
is so funny. As if I'd tell you?
So that is how it's going to be. Oh well, this doesn't change anything for me. So, you discovered my secret. So what? What are you going to do about it?
Scintilla, what are you doing? What are you doing? So you asked me to figure out who it... So what do we think is going to happen here? Do we think Scintilla's going to hit him over the head and break the golden rule? I think that's the most likely outcome at this point. I am wondering if maybe this conversation has a different way out than that, but we'll find out. You asked me to figure out who was going to break the golden rule, knowing I would fail every time. You knew there was a way out and even locked up your own daughter to keep it a secret. Why? Let's ask this one, because it's very like, ah, yes, villain. Big bad evil guy. Tell me all about your plans. I'd love to hear them, and you would love to talk about them, and maybe that'll distract him.
Why? Isn't it obvious? Because I have grown attached to all this. My title, my beautiful villa, the sun on my face, the music of birds chirping. And as long as this day keeps repeating itself, I get to enjoy it all, over and over again, for eternity. Don't you see? I have found a way to prolong my life indefinitely, to cheat death. I have become, in effect, as immortal as the gods. Can you honestly say you would not wish the same for yourself?
I can. Yeah, I would not like to. You asked me to figure out who was going to break the golden rule, knowing I would fail every time.
Of course. There's no way you could have succeeded. Every soul who has ever found themselves here has broken the golden rule eventually. It is inevitable. Man will always sin sooner or later. Any idiot could tell you this. But where others might see tragedy, I saw opportunity. As I told you the first time we met, I found a way to cheat death. By reliving the same day over and over again forever. And I will continue living long after your dust.
Let's see you cheat your way out of this. Bam!
Do you really think you could take on a Decurion with that flimsy little bow?
I probably could, but I'm going to let her have this one.
Who? Scintilla?
Wait.
Where is she?
Wait.
I'm right here, Father.
This is bad. What the hell? Oh my god. I just realized. This is bad because if he can't sacrifice himself...
The many shall suffer for the sins of the one.
Come on, we have to go. Hey, what's happening to you? That light, it's so bright.
If he can't sacrifice himself, I can't have been brought here, meaning I created the time paradox, meaning I think I maybe just beat the game. Not the way that I wanted to beat the game, but I did maybe just beat the game. Point of origin. Talk to Al. First I read that as talk
Hi
to
there.
AI.
Gave me a bit of a fright. Thought I was in here alone. I'm Al.
Alworth, I came in here to find you.
Well, here I am. I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name.
I'm a little indigestion. I was hoping you'd know who I am. I'm little indigestion. Let's do the second option. It's interesting. I'm little indigestion. I was hoping you'd know who I am.
Funny you should ask. I was just reading an old tablet I found here. Well, trying. My Latin is kind of rusty, but the last entry mentioned someone with the same name. It described an event about 2,000 years ago. Someone with your name appeared in the city out of the shrine of Proserpina. Freed an imprisoned woman named Scintilla, who then murdered her captor, breaking some kind of ancient law. It said the attack caused golden statues to come alive, hunting down everyone in the city and turning them into gold.
Did Scintilla
Apparently,
escape?
the only person to survive was Scintilla, while the stranger disappeared in a flash of light.
That was me.
What? You're saying you were here 2,000 years ago?
Nah.
I'm not sure I understand.
This is the crazy thing. When I first arrived here in the present day, I found your corpse hanging from a noose. Why is Al alive? Oh my lord, I did not sleep enough last night to try and figure this out. So, I arrived. Al's dead. But there is a portal into the past. I go into the past. I prevent the portal from ever having been created, meaning Al could have never gone into it, Meaning Al is still alive, meaning I get transported back here. Are there also other people like Al and me who would have traveled into the portal but are no longer alive, but no longer, but who could no longer have traveled into the portal and therefore are instead here? I don't know. When I first arrived here in the present day, I found your corpse hanging from a noose.
I'm sorry, come again?
I still have the suicide note you carved into this tablet here. What an insane thing to do. Hi, here's your suicide note.
Let me see that. God, why does this writing look so familiar? I've spent a lifetime in this place going around and around in circles. This is disturbing, but I don't understand how I could have written it.
Here's the other question. If I cannot have been in a time loop, what does my inventory look like right now? Do I still have my inventory? That inventory was from before I entered the time loop, right? I grabbed that note from before. So I wonder if all my stuff from the Forgotten City is gone. Anyways, it was written by a different version of you. I changed the past and therefore your fate.
I'm not following.
Let's see if I got this correct. I helped Scintilla kill the man who opened a time portal and drew you back in time, preventing it from ever happening.
So you're saying, because a man from 2,000 years ago is dead, he never created a time portal, so I never went through it, and that's why I don't remember any of this.
You got it, Buster.
I guess you saved my life then, as well as helping that poor woman to escape. That's a lot to take in.
For sure. Enough talk. Let's get out of this place.
Maybe we can escape through the same aqueduct Scintilla used, if we can find it.
It's right here in this cistern. Follow me. Oh, this is a weird ending. Right? Is it possible to go back out? No. I was like, I wonder if they'll let you see the city as it was, right? They will not. Okay. And let's get the heck out of here, dude. That way I can reload and do something else if I need to. I want to see what the other outcomes are like. Exit through the aqueduct. Are we going to find Karen? There's the river. Hear me out. Wade against the current? You knew what I was going to say, didn't you? Oh, it's beautiful out here.
I'm gonna pause here for a moment and make sure nobody else has ever lured into this temple.
Good idea.
You go on ahead. I'll be there soon.
Okay. Pleasure talking with you, Al. It's a sunny day. A bright, sunshiny day. I wonder if I should have gotten in the river there and waded against the current. I don't think this is... I didn't look like I could, but I'm obsessed. Sin, dia, death, and wade against the current. I'm obsessed. Karen, is that you?
You're back. But you're alone. Does that mean you didn't find Al?
I did find him. He'll be here in a moment.
Oh, what a relief. Thank you so much. I was beginning to think you'd both become trapped in there. Why don't you tell me what you discovered while we wait?
Oh my god, how much time do you have? I discovered your real name is Karen, or was it Kerti?
Ah, I see. I thought you might. Well, now you know.
Holy shit.
I suppose you have questions.
Who are you really?
You can just call me Charon, if you like. I'm sorry I was not completely honest with you when we first met.
Oh my god.
I do not enjoy deceiving people. Believe me, I do not. But I have learned, from 5,000 years of experience, that most people find comfort in familiarity, in gradual change, and coming to see the truth in their own time.
Imagine you're sitting across from a girl on a date, and all of a sudden her eyes go red like that. I'm dating Sauron. Coming to see the truth in their own time. What truth is that?
That you died, of course. You were dead when I brought you here. My role, as the servant of the god of the underworld, has always been to assist the chosen to cross the threshold from the land of the living to the land of the dead.
How did I die?
Usually, when people do not remember how they died, it is because they suffered a terrible trauma.
Okay.
Most souls would rather not remember. Ask yourself honestly, do you really want to know?
I do. I want to know.
As you wish. You were murdered. You were exploring an old tomb when you discovered a cache of forgotten relics, including 2 silver coins of ancient origin. Unfortunately, as you emerged into daylight, you were set upon by 2 thieves. A nearby hiker saw the scuffle break out and leapt to your aid, trying to help you recover your bounty. You both fought bravely, but your assailants were armed, and you were not. There was nothing you or your ally could have done. He died instantly at the scene, and you followed a few hours later. That man's name was Al Worth.
I mean, it only makes
You were
sense.
each in possession of a sacred coin, called Karen's Opal by some. And so it was my duty to bring you here.
It makes sense why Al and I are from the same time and why I followed him so closely. So closely. His hiking backpack, by the way. What's so special about these coins?
Perhaps you have heard the tales of the Greeks and Romans burying their dead with a coin in their mouths to pay the ferrymen for passage across the river. Well, those stories contained a seed of truth, but not any coin would do. A long time ago, my master created 1,000 silver coins and had me distribute them across the world. My orders were simple. Whenever a person died in possession of a coin, I was to locate them and ferry them here.
Why?
That is a question you would have to ask him, if that were still possible, in light of the path you have chosen. I am just his servant, doing his bidding. Only now, I find myself bereft of purpose. You see, the coins on you and Al were the last of the 1,000 in existence. There is nobody else to ferry here. Nobody to keep you company. After 5,000 years, the underworld has finally run its course.
Are you sad? You get to retire? Can you return us to the land of the living?
I see no point in keeping you here. But I have to ask one thing. That you keep this to yourself.
Look! Here comes Al now. Al!
Damn.
It's so good to see you. You were gone so long I thought I'd never see you again.
Kinda lost track of time in there. You wouldn't believe what we found. The ruins of a long-forgotten city. And there was a tablet describing an event 2,000 years ago. Supposedly, the city was destroyed when a woman murdered a tyrant with the help of, well, my new friend here. I know how crazy that sounds.
Maybe not that crazy. That woman. I don't suppose her name was... Scintilla?
How could you... What?
She left a tablet of her own. I stumbled across it while I was waiting here.
Interesting.
I think she meant for you to read
This
it.
answers the question, what would have
Here,
happened to
Take a
Scintilla?
look.
What would have happened to
I
Scintilla?
don't know what became of you, or if you'll ever read this, but I want you to know that I will never forget you, or what you did for me. It pains me that so many dear friends were not so fortunate. Ulpius, Cynthia, Lucretia, Horatius, Galerius, poor Dooley, and the others. But please understand, their blood is on my hands, not yours. I will live with the consequences of my actions, and all I can do is move forward, trying to show others the same compassion you showed me. I promise you, that saving my life will not be for nothing. Scintilla.
That's pretty lovely. It's interesting. Yeah, I have thoughts, but we'll save them for a second.
Sounds like you meant a lot to her. I'd love to hear your story, but first, you two look exhausted. Why don't you hop in my boat and rest while I ferry you back to civilization?
Sure.
Sounds good to me.
And you? Are you ready to go home?
These transitions in the dialogue crack me up between two people's heads. All right, Karen, ferry us home. Oh, I got a Steam achievement that says reach ending 2 of 4. The one that got away. How many might have survived if you'd confronted the god of the underworld? Oh, don't worry. That's the next plan. That's my next plan. I'm going to reload and continue on for at least 1 to 2 more endings. Developed by Modern Storyteller. Holy cow. What a cool game. This is we're going to look through the credits right now, but we are going to obviously stay here and chase at least 1 more ending, maybe 2. I'm not sure, maybe 3. I don't know. I have an idea for 2 of the endings, but I don't know what the other one could be. Here's what I find really interesting about that. We almost completely missed this ending twice. One, the day we were down there and said, no, Scintilla, I can't do that. I can't do this option because I think it will lead to the breaking of the golden rule, which will break, which will end the game. Or end the time loop. Not end the game, but it did end the game when I realized right before we did it. So then we went down there today, and I was like, oh, maybe we should talk to Scintilla. It's been forever, Oh, we need to catch up with Scintilla. It's been so long. And then as the dialogue goes, I'm like, wait a second. This will lead to the the killing of Cynthius, which is hypothetically the way to create a time paradox. So it worked. Super interesting. Super interesting. Now we get to see what's next. I am, of course, interested to confront the god of the underworld, but I really think first might make the most sense to speak with Equitia about a different way out. Those are my 2 guesses for different endings. It just says philosopher. I was just waiting on this. I was like, is it going to tell me what goddamn philosopher this is? It just says, oh, we might actually see some minor spoilers here. I'm guessing there will be a casting for the god of Pluto. It may have already happened and I missed it. Maybe not. I don't know if we're going to talk to Pluto. Let's see here. I have a thing about skipping through credits. I don't like to do it because these people worked so hard on the video game, and so we're gonna wait through these before we do anything else. Once we've sat through the credits once, we can skip it again next time or something. But on the other hand, I don't feel qualified to come up with larger thoughts about the game just yet because we haven't really seen it all. We've seen one ending, and I would say this was the ending I was sort of least interested in getting, is saving no one, right? My thought... Wait a second. I have an idea about the ending that I have not thought of yet. What if we tell Galerius to grab everybody, go to the upper cistern, then do this? Exact same ending. That's got to be it, right? I was thinking that either of the other 2 routes forward might be a way to save everyone or save most people. Of course, I don't think that telling Galerius to do that will save everybody because Dooley's still locked up. I don't know that everyone's going to agree with Galerius, right? And just randomly run to the upper cistern. We'll find out here in a second when this when these credits are done. But oh, it's an interesting game. Like I said, this is the ending I was kind of least interested in getting because I was like, I think the remaining options are going to end up with probably more people saved, but we'll see. What an interesting game. What a very thought-provoking game. Some special thanks. I love games that confuse me. I love games with a mystery. First off, that's one category. I love games that have that confuse me, either with in confusing in productive ways. Right? It's really easy to write something that's confusing and unclear, but it's hard to write something that is confusing in a productive way. Meaning, like, the confusion makes you think. The confusion can lead you to a greater understanding. And so far, that's how I would describe this game. Let's load the game and see. Right here. And see what happens if we tell Galerius to take everybody there. Let's try the second ending I don't really particularly want to do. Golden Rule is going to be broken. I need you to quietly get everyone except Cynthius ready to run into the upper cistern when the ground starts to rumble.
What? That's a big ask.
We tried this once.
But I don't...
You're not going to be able to gather everybody for sure. Oh, Jesus, I just fell. Oh, God. Whew. Now that I've tried that, let's go do the same thing, right? I don't know who he's going to grab and get there, but... Also, if he's grabbing people to send them to the upper cistern, he is by necessity not saving, like, Fabia, Yulia, Ulpius, Rufius. So my thought is that it'll be interesting to see who all can potentially get out if we do this. Because it might not be very many people. Plus, who's going to believe Galerius to come up here? Wait, wrong way. Let's see. Okay, we're going to skip dialogue because we just heard all of it. I've told Galerius to lead everyone here so when the golden rule is broken so they can escape too.
How did you know? Wait, did you hear that? He's here. He must be coming in through the door behind you. Distract him.
So this should all be similar.
Here and keep him talking while I look for something I can use.
So it sounds like we may be...
Scintilla. Where is
Never mind.
she?
I'll say that later. As if I'd tell you.
So you discovered my secret. So what? What are you going to do about it?
Oh, you can't skip this dialogue, huh?
Of course. Man will, as I told you, by reliving the same day over and over again forever. And I will continue living long after your dust.
I hope Galerius has hurried up.
Why? I have found a way to prolong my
he's got
life
everyone here.
indefinitely. To cheat death. I have become, in effect, as immortal as the gods. Can you honestly say you would not wish
For
the
some
same
reason,
for
I cannot
yourself?
skip this last line in the thing. Let's see you cheat your way out of this.
Do you really think... Who? Scintilla? Where is she?
I'm right here, Father.
I wonder what she does to light him on fire. Is it just a torch? We didn't talk about that. Somehow she lights his ass on fire.
The many shall suffer for the sins of the one.
Come on, we have to go. The others should be right behind us. Hey,
I'm bright.
what's happening to you? That light, it's so bright.
Cool. Okay. I am going to skip forward because I value your time. If there's anything different, I'll let you know. But otherwise, I'm just going to skip forward.
Apparently, Scintilla and a handful of other
Handful.
citizens managed to escape, while the stranger disappeared in a flash of light.
Cool. A couple people made it out.
That woman.
Okay.
I don't suppose her name was Scintilla?
Let's see if there's a different
How could you-
tablet.
She left a tablet of her. I think she meant for you to read it. Here.
See if it says anything
take a
different.
look.
I don't know what became of you, or if you'll ever read this, but Octavia, Lucretia, Horatius, Equitia, and I will never
5
forget
people.
you, or what you did for us. It pains us that so many of our dear friends were not so fortunate, including Ulpius and Galerius, who heroically tried to rescue Dooley, but never made it back.
Oh,
But there is no point dwelling on what might have been.
Galerius and
All
Ulpius.
we can do is take this gift you've given us and try to show others the same compassion you showed us. We promise you that saving our lives was not for nothing. Scintilla et al.
Scintilla et al. So, Ulpius and Galerius try to save Dooley. That's such a perfect detail for their characters. For specifically Galerius' character, but Octavia, Lucretia, Horatius, Equitia, and I. Okay. So, Cynthia didn't make it out. Cynthia didn't make it out. Who else would I have expected to make it out there? I'm glad Equitia did. I'm glad Lucretia did. Horatius, of course, would follow Scintilla. Very interesting. Very interesting. Okay.
Sounds like you meant a lot to her. I'd love to hear your story, but first, you two look
Sounds good.
And you?
That's ending 3 of 4. Is it ending 3 of 4? Interesting. So which one's ending 1 and which one's ending 4? Interesting. About either Equitia or the god of the underworld. Interesting. Well, let's find out. Let's find out. Okay. You know the drill. We're going to reload, and my thought is we're going to go speak to Equitia. I'll keep overthinking. Which one is it? Oh my
Wait,
god.
What? God, am I going out of my mind? Are you
Wait,
going
I
to
d-
let me go, or
Shit.
what?
I loaded the wrong save. This one right here. I loaded the wrong save. Is it Equitia or Equitia? God damn it, I can't remember. Oh, hello, Galerius. Hey, do me a favor and take care of some things urgently. And I am going to go speak to your girlfriend. So that leaves us with 2 options. We have technically done Point of Origin twice, and we've seen what's in the upper cistern. However, we have not asked about appealing to the gods for help or faced whatever is in there, the god of the underworld, the divine temple.
Greetings and salutations.
So, I think Equitia I won't be able to talk to until Galerius is done with his mission. But we will do that here in just a second. We'll do that here in just a second. All right. It's not ready. Never mind. I have spent the entire time waiting on this to be done. Oh, trying to jump on this statue before I can speak. Oh, to Equitia. Oh, that was too hard.
That's quite an impressive bow you have there. Just like Diana's.
Nope, still not ready. Okay. I can't quite... Oh, I can't quite make it. That was too hard. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Oh, that'll do it. We nailed it. We nailed it. I think we're still waiting. I still see dialogue at the bottom of the... This is my one critique with the gameplay of this game. I think the writing's awesome. I think the idea is great. I think, you know, I've talked so much about it. You know by now. I'm a big fan of this game. The waiting at the beginning of a time loop for everything to speed up, for people who do a lot of time loops like me, that just gets a little... It just takes me out of the game a little bit, waiting on somebody else to play the game, and aka Galerius to make these moves for me. Oh, my lord, we're still not there. All right, 1 second. Oh, you're leaving. Okay, okay. We still have to wait for you to speak with Domitius about Malleolus.
Citizens, the election will proceed.
Oh, now we still have conversation with Galerius.
Sorry again.
Okay. Sisyphus, never heard of him before.
Oh, no.
Equitia, come back. It's time for me to speak to you. I need clues. Let's talk.
All
right, let's do it.
Ave, and may Vesta watch over you. I'm Equitia.
Yep.
To what do I owe the pleasure of this visit?
Well, I need to figure out where... Can I ask you some questions about escaping the underworld?
I beg your...
You're surprised.
Oh
Livia was right.
Let's see. We don't have Hercules, the demigod and son of Jupiter. Orpheus, a Thracian poet. Sisyphus, a king of Ephyra. And Aeneas, a Trojan hero. Hercules was able to leave the underworld because he cowed its god with his strength. Sisyphus and Orpheus both relied on their wits instead. They persuaded the goddess of the underworld, Proserpina, to help them escape. And finally, Aeneas was able to escape.
But isn't
with the help
Sisyphus
of a
still
spirit
stuck here?
guide,
So did he
who led
really
him through
escape?
a secret gate. So it seems you have two options: to confront the god of the underworld head on, or find a way to escape with the help of Proserpina or some other guide.
The question here is that I don't know more than... I've heard this part so far, and I don't know any more. I don't know what the next step would be. Tell me more about escaping with the help of Proserpina or
As
a
I
guide.
mentioned, both Orpheus and Sisyphus were said to have persuaded Proserpina to help them escape, and Aeneas was guided to the exit. The problem is, those are the stories of a poet, a self-aggrandizing king, and a brawler about their own heroic deeds, so they should be taken with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
First, Proserpina. What we do know about her is, well, it's a grim tale. It's said the god of the underworld abducted and dragged her here against her will, forcing her into marriage.
That's horrible.
It is. The gods are a mirror image of mankind, as far as cruelty is concerned, I'm afraid. If the stories are true, I imagine she's as desperate to escape as we are. If she really did help Orpheus and Sisyphus, perhaps she'll help us too. The problem is, how do we communicate with her without being noticed by her captor? Leaving that aside for a moment, there is also the possibility of a spirit guide. I don't suppose you've come across one of those in your travels?
So my understanding up to this point is that Proserpina... I think we've had this conversation, but it's been a while, so I'm refreshing myself as much as anything. That maybe Proserpina speaks through the female statues that are whispering to me.
Truly? And you're only bringing this up now? Then again, I suppose you were worried I'd think you were as mad as Navia. Can you tell me more? Is it the same voice?
The same voice.
What kinds of thing does it say?
She's helpful if cryptic.
Fascinating. Perhaps she's a benevolent spirit.
Yep.
Or perhaps... Perhaps you're hearing the voice of Proserpina herself. If she has indeed been abducted, It would make sense for her to speak in cryptic whispers to avoid detection. Tell me, has she told you anything that might lead you to the way out?
I've already found a way to escape. Wait, what?
Truly? Then why are you still here?
Oh, okay. We're talking about the upper cistern path. Because that path will result in the deaths of nearly everyone here, and I don't want that.
Ah, I see. Then it seems you have made a great sacrifice for all of us, friend. I admire your compassion. Truly. Thank you. But unfortunately, I'm afraid your only other option will be to confront you-know-who.
Well, then I'd better get back to it. Let's do it.
May Fortuna guide you. Although you may not need her with Proserpina on your side.
I thought maybe there was still another route there. A different weight against the current. So weight against the current means cistern, upper cistern. I'm pretty sure that's what it means. It's so confusing because this quest does not update. You know?
Isn't the great temple majestic?
It doesn't say like, oh, you've asked Equitia about this. She recommends going to the place. All right, let's do it. We're going to go all the way up to the Divine Temple and put four plaques on and see what happens. It's time. Finally. Finally time. Hello.
I hope you're coping.
I'm good. How are you? Keep waiting for one of these statues to tell me something new. Nothing? Cool. Missing piece. Ooh. Okay. We're glowing gold. This is Egyptian, I think. Sumerian. Roman? Roman, Greek. Oh shit, okay. Oh boy. Oh boy. All right, here goes nothing. God, remember the first time we figured out that these things were moving at us? Or turning to look at us, I should say. Speak his name. I wonder when we get to a thing called the White Hallway. Could this be it? Speak his name, and I get to pick which one? Hades, Lord of Many, grant me an audience. Nergal, the Fierce One, grant me an audience. Osiris, Lord of Silence. Pluto, grant me an audience. Let's go with the original one. Nergal, the Fierce One, grant me an audience. Hades, Lord of Many, grant me an audience. That one worked, but Nergal did not. Okay. Egyptian. Let's save. Oh, I'm speaking based on... Oh, I understand now. This is Osiris. I get it now. I'm speaking based on each of the eras. It makes sense. We only saw Roman people outside of the... Greek people outside of the first one. So this one should be for Sumerian, right? Nergal. That's got to be the white hallway. I think we figured it out. Why does that look like metal? Excuse me? Excuse me? I'm in the Matrix? I'm in space? Put your dukes up. What the hell? Is that a spaceship? Who's that? Who's that? Door's shut behind me. I mean, amazing. Really cool. Holy shit. Serpent, is that you? Abducted, huh? Are we on an invisible spaceship orbiting Earth? You are in a glass box, so you are... Who's that? Abducted.
And here you are. Allow me to introduce myself. As you have already gathered, I've been known by many names. Nergal to the Sumerians, Osiris to the Egyptians, Hades to the Greeks, and Pluto to the Romans.
Okay.
But the one constant through it all has been my title, God of the Underworld. And I've been watching you with curiosity, mortal, ever since your arrival. You are unlike the others, aren't you? And what is more, you carry a weapon that was never intended for mortals to wield, and you do it so brazenly.
Diana's bow.
That there will be time for your reckoning later. First, as a reward for undoing the desecration of my obelisk, I will allow you to satisfy your curiosity. Ask what you will.
I love the background music right now. It's really, really unnerving but epic at the same time. This has got to be one final test, right? It's got to be. What's your story? It's the question we can ask everyone in this game. That makes me kind of emotional to think about. What's your story? Is it's the universal question. What's your story?
My story is many thousands of years long. You will need to be more specific. What do you wish to know?
You're a god?
It is a matter of perspective. God is a label I was given by you mortals, not one I gave myself. Your ancestors revered me because to them, my knowledge and technology made me incomprehensibly powerful, just as you might seem so to an insect. But despite all that, there are rules even I must obey.
You're not fully omnipotent. And not fully omniscient either. There are secrets you do not know. Why do you look and sound like a man?
My kin and I all adopted this form long ago, so that we might better understand and communicate with your kind. In time, we grew fond of the sensory delights it affords. Desire, joy, ecstasy, even rage and sorrow, while an acquired taste can be addictive.
That checks out with my understanding of the gods. May I see your true form?
No. Long ago I swore to Proserpina that I would remain in this form for as long as we remained among your kind. I must honor that.
Speaking of Proserpina, who's the woman on your left?
This is my beloved. Like me, she has been known by many names. Ereshkigal to the Sumerians, Isis to the Egyptians, Persephone to the Greeks, and Proserpina to the Romans. Or perhaps you might know her as the goddess of springtime, the cycle of life and renewal.
Yep.
Your gaze lingers too long.
Oh, okay. Who's on your right? Who is on your right? Is it Karen?
That is my servant. You would have met by the river, though she wears many faces and goes by many names.
Let's go.
Kumutabal to the Sumerians, Kurti to the Egyptians, Charon to the Greeks, and Charon to the Romans. Her role is to ferry souls between the mortal world and this one, and to make their transition as seamless as possible. For that, she earned herself the infamous, if erroneous, moniker, the Ferryman. You will talk more later. For now, ask your questions.
Let's talk about
As
something
you
else.
wish.
What is this place?
It has come to be known simply as the Underworld, and it exists because of a wager I made long ago.
What was the wager?
That is a long story, one that began over 3,000 years
Sorry,
ago
I don't know my
and
classics.
continues to this day. You see, long ago, my kin and I set out from our home on Elysium to search for other forms of life among the stars. We discovered your planet and witnessed your kind evolving from primates into something lawless and barbaric. You all but destroyed yourselves, your 2 short lives being extinguished by violence and ignorance and disease. Yet Proserpina saw raw potential in you, and persuaded the rest of us it would be squandered without our intervention and stewardship. So we revealed ourselves to your people in a place called Sumer. We offered guidance in agriculture, toolcraft, and law, and you called us gods. For a time you flourished, but soon you were too many for us to oversee. And as you spread from that cradle of civilization, we saw something disturbing. We had sown the seeds of dependency and confusion, and soon you returned to your old ways of violence and ignorance, this time in our name. My kin had seen enough, and gave up on your kind, condemning you as barbaric and chaotic, scarcely more than animals. We began preparations to return to Elysium, our home world, a utopia unspoilt by conflict and unimaginable in its beauty. But my Proserpina could not bear to abandon your kind without guidance, and knowing it would force the rest of us to leave her behind, she made an extraordinary sacrifice. She gave up her immortality to descend permanently to the ranks of humankind. And so she began her inescapable trajectory toward death. Horrified, I acted swiftly. I placed her in suspended animation in a deep frozen sleep to prevent age and sickness from claiming her. And then I pleaded with Proserpina's father, who the Romans called Jupiter, to bring her with us to Elysium. It was and is my hope that once there, we might one day learn to undo what she has done to herself. But he refused. I did everything I could to persuade him, but he would not relent. He would rigidly uphold his final pronouncement. Humans were unworthy of ascension to Elysium, and no exceptions would be made. But seeing that I was aggrieved, he proposed a wager, the terms of which were as follows. If even one human city could prove itself capable of living without sin for a single year, then Proserpina and all of humanity would be permitted to join us in Elysium. My part would be to remain behind,
Interesting.
the last of my kind,
1 year.
to watch over you without interfering, and to sit in silent judgment. And so my reward has been to languish here, enduring a 3,000-year winter, waiting for the day your kind proves itself worthy of her faith in you, so that I might take her with me to Elysium and unthaw my goddess of springtime. And here I am, after all this time, still waiting.
This is a crazy thing to say after I just sat there for like 4 minutes listening with no breaks. But the writing in this game is on, I have to commend its succinctness. Generally, there is a lot of writing in this game, and it's not always super short. but it is very, it does not get mired in details too often, which had to be a hell of a task to write this many lines of dialogue and not get mired in details. I had one reaction to that. I had lots of reactions, but the one that I want to talk about is Proserpina committed a kind of suicide. If you just my reading of that text is almost that Proserpina committed a kind of suicide, which is interesting that suicide is not a sin in the city. I know I've hyperfixated on that, but I think I have a reason to, because it was kind of mentioned as sort of a red herring of a sin, and then one character's fate proves that it is not a sin in the eyes of at least Hades. So yeah, it's just interesting, like Proserpina's decision to become, to mark herself for death, basically. Who are your kin?
There were also gods who, like me, have been known by many names, but perhaps you knew them by their Roman names. Our leader Jupiter, as well as Neptune, Saturn, Juno, Minerva, Mars, Venus, Apollo, Diana, Vulcan, Vesta, Ceres, and of course, my beloved Proserpina.
There's got to be a way to help Proserpina. This is the final test. There's got to be a way to help Proserpina out of this situation. Who built the city?
As the first wave of your kind arrived from Sumer, I had them build a city in their own fashion, so that they might be comfortable and recreate their lives here. I had them build the entrance as a vertical shaft leading to baths, to cleanse them of the sins of their former lives, and to prevent escape. I watched wave after wave of Sumerians arrive, and as their civilization declined over the centuries, they were replaced by Egyptians. Of course, believing themselves to be the superior civilization, the Egyptians promptly built over what had been built before, and made all the same mistakes. After another 1,000 years, the Greeks began to arrive, and then the Romans, and they all did the same thing. They built upon the underworlds of their predecessors, renamed their gods, and ensured their foundations were forgotten.
How did you decide who comes here?
To ensure the wager was fair, it was important that my subjects were chosen at random. To this end, I had my servant distribute 1,000 tokens fashioned from silver, a rare element at the time, across all of Sumer. Whoever died while in possession of one of them would be located by my servant and ferried to this place, with no memory of how they arrived. As the tokens were discovered, they were traded, smelted, and fashioned into trinkets, and eventually coins, spreading to Egypt like seeds on the wind. Later, when they spread to Greece, they would come to be known as Charon's obol, or as coins for the ferryman. Some placed coins in the mouths of their dead, hoping they would awaken here, though they had no way of knowing which coins were fashioned from the original tokens. In fact, almost all of the tokens are accounted for. Only 2 remain.
Yep.
And so after this wave destroys itself, as it is destined to do, your kind will have squandered the last of its potential to ascend beyond this rock, and Proserpina's along with it.
Interesting. I wonder what Proserpina would have me do here. How did humans learn about the underworld?
It is a regrettable story. One of the first men who came to this place was a king of Sumer and a troublemaker. To be rid of him, I returned him to his people, on the condition that my servant erased his memories of this place. But the erasure did not take completely, and he told stories of this place as if describing memories of a dream.
Ovid?
His tales were committed to writing, which came to be known as the Epic
Gilgamesh.
of Gilgamesh.
Interesting.
And his words were twisted
Epic of
and
Gilgamesh.
distorted over generations. Later, the Egyptians would adapt Sumer's stories of the underworld, making them wildly intricate and labyrinthine. Their Book of the Dead and Book of Gates bore less and less resemblance to this place in their priests' pursuit of profit. Then, when the Greeks began to arrive, they proved far more cunning. And in a series of incidents that will not be repeated, 5 of them
5 of them escaped?
A warrior named Heracles, 2 kings named Sisyphus and Theseus, a poet named Orpheus, and a Trojan named Aeneas. They each told embellished tales of this place, how to get here, and how to escape. And so from Sumer to Egypt, Greece to Rome, your kind has always told each other stories about this place, though each story contained only a seed of truth.
Perfect. We're getting so much good info
Of
here.
course.
Are you responsible for the golden rule? It sounds like you and Jupiter? Who is Proserpina's dad?
That is merely the name your people have given to it, but yes, it is my doing.
Why turn people into gold?
That is a story dating back to the very first wave. After the Sumerians finished building their city, the self-declared ruler threw a banquet to celebrate. Now this man was unmarried, and many women were vying to become his wife, a prestigious position of power and influence in a new world. Of all the women, 2 were particularly ambitious. Both were beautiful, and both arrived at the banquet wearing eye-catching dresses and painted faces, their hair woven in elaborate fashion. The first woman, recognizing that she would require an advantage to win the ruler's affection, draped herself in jewelry, ornate necklaces, bracelets, and rings fashioned from gold. Seeing this ostentatious display, the second woman grew envious, for she had no such jewelry at her disposal. She prayed aloud to any gods that would listen to cover her in gold, and when her prayer went unanswered, she took matters into her own hands. While the others indulged at the banquet, the second woman summoned the first for a discussion in a quiet place.
Committed the first sin.
She checked that nobody was watching and pushed her rival from the top of the ziggurat, where she broke her neck on the rocks below. But I was watching, and I decided to answer her prayer. I took the golden bow left behind by Diana, and I shot that woman in the heart, covering her from head to toe in a layer of molten gold. And I left her to stand there, that she might serve as a grim reminder of what befalls those who sin in my domain. But that was not enough, for the entire city was tainted by her sin, and the wager could no longer be won. So I had no choice but to wipe the slate clean. I gilded them all, to make way for a new wave, and began the wager again. And to this day, each of them, and all who came after, line the halls of this city, inanimate but conscious.
Conscious?
Suspended in time
Shit.
with only their sight and hearing preserved, so they may bear witness to and lament the folly of your kind for eternity, the silent golden sentinels.
You're responsible for destroying all these lives?
I give your kind a second chance at life, as well as ample warning about my law. And when you disobey, and you always disobey, you force my hand, bringing terrible suffering upon yourselves. And so you ask if I am the one destroying your lives. And I say, no, you destroy yourselves. I am merely the means by which you do it.
That's very twisty wordplay there, buddy. Where did these golden bows come from?
When my kin departed, they left behind many relics which I inherited. A consolation prize of sorts. The golden bow originally belonged to one of my kin, who the Romans called Diana. As my collection of golden statues grew, I chose the most ferocious among them, and equipped them each with a duplicate of her bow, and tasked them with hunting down the Forsaken at my behest. They became known simply as Furies.
What exactly do you consider a sin?
I've always considered that the cornerstone of morality is the ability to determine right from wrong on one's own. No attempt to lay out rules like your Code of Hammurabi or your 12 Tables of the Roman Republic can ever cover all possible scenarios. This should come as no surprise to you, since the core principle has been expressed in many forms by many of your civilizations. The Egyptians made a rudimentary attempt with do to the doer to make him do. The Greeks refined it with avoid doing what you would blame others for doing. The Roman Stoics added treat your inferior as you would wish your superior to treat you. Even the so-called cultists hiding among you often say, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. It is the simplest of concepts, and each one of you is born with the faculties required to apply it to any situation. Yet none of the peoples who expressed this rule were able to uphold it.
I would argue.
Curious, is it not?
None ever will uphold it, but the striving to uphold it is what matters. Doesn't seem like you've been upholding it either. Oh, let's get aggressive here.
Enough. You clearly know nothing.
Sure. How do you know when people sin?
I'm able to commune with all of the statues in the city. Their ears are my ears, and their eyes are my eyes.
Proserpina is probably connected in the same way. Let's ask that question. Is Proserpina connected to the statues in the same way?
If she was still conscious, I suppose she could, but she's not. Why do you ask?
Oh, me? No reason. No reason at all. No reason.
Then what an odd question.
I've seen some terrible things here that you didn't consider a sin. How could you let them happen?
Do you plan to speak in sweeping generalizations? Or are you going to give me an
Malleolus's life
example?
debts. Price gouging for life-saving medicine was the next thing I would think of. Debt bondage, price gouging, scamming people, abduction. Do we bring abduction into the? We should maybe lead with that one. We'll swing back to that one. Price gouging.
The merchant. How is that inconsistent with the rule I've outlined?
He wouldn't want someone else to demand an outrageous price for the medicine he needed if he was dying.
I disagree. Having watched this merchant, that is precisely what he would expect from others, and he would be quite capable of paying the price anyway.
So he's exempt because he's rich and an asshole? You can't know what he would expect. You're speculating.
Applying this rule always requires speculation to some degree. It requires us to ask what
imagination,
another person
empathy,
would want
yeah.
if they found themselves in another situation.
Doesn't that make it inherently subjective and unreliable? I don't necessarily personally. I don't disagree. It's just that this isn't what I would lead with. But let's ask it. Doesn't that make it inherently subjective and unreliable?
Not if we're wise enough to know the mind of man.
You think you know the minds of other people?
Supposing you're right, then my law has been broken, and I should turn you all to gold immediately. Is that what you want?
Of course not. Never mind.
Now tell me, what other sins do you believe I have overlooked?
I personally wouldn't call this a sin, but I'm interested what the take here is. Suicide.
I have seen no such thing, but in any case, taking one's own life is a self-directed act. It is not one that is done to others, however they may be affected by it. Therefore, it cannot be said that one who commits suicide has done anything unto others.
I don't know that I agree with your logic here, but I do probably end up in a similar place with you. Seems like an extremely literal interpretation of the rule.
Applying this rule always requires us to interpret the meaning of the words. A literal interpretation helps to minimize the ambiguities of your primitive language.
I didn't murder him. He had an unfortunate accident. If our language is full of ambiguity, doesn't that make the rule inherently subjective and unreliable?
Supposing you're right, then my law has been broken. And
No, of course not.
Now tell me, what other sins do you believe I have
Is it enough to win the argument here? I don't know. A scam.
Ah, the tavern keeper, yes? How is that inconsistent with the rule?
She wouldn't want someone else to sell her hemlock if she thought she was buying a means of escape.
I disagree. Having watched that tavern keeper, that is precisely what she would expect from others.
Okay.
She would view it as a game, one she intends to win.
Similar to Dacius, you're saying. You can't know what she would expect, you're speculating? I disagree.
Supposing you're right, then my laws...
No, of course not.
Now tell me,
I think experiments on the golden statues is a sin? Not really, but maybe. I guess they're conscious, so yeah.
the midwife in the palace, yes. How is that inconsistent with the rule?
She wouldn't want to be experimented on if she was gilded?
The rule is do unto others, meaning other people. Those statues are something else now. Bloodless shadows, mere shapes of their former selves. They are forsaken. What happens to them is no concern of mine.
I kind of weirdly agree with you here.
Now tell me, what
On that
other
one.
sin...
What about debt bondage?
You speak of the moneylender. How is that inconsistent with the rule?
He wouldn't want to be trapped in a 30-year labor contract because of a loan?
And he would never have signed a contract pledging his labor for 30 years. All he did was enforce the terms of a contract signed voluntarily by others.
All he did was enforce the terms of a contract signed voluntarily by others. To believe that you are above reproach if that is all you do is so icky to me. That's the technical term, icky. The whole concept of debt bondage, like slavery, is unethical. It's illegal under international law where I'm from.
Ignoring your irritating sense of moral superiority. This is interesting. I'm curious. How do people escape poverty where you're from?
Good question. You take out a loan to buy a house, and in some places to pay for an education, and then you spend 30 years, or, you know, your mortgage is 15 or 30, depending, but...
I see. And how long might it take such a person to repay their debt?
Sometimes their entire life.
I fail to see how your system of loans is significantly different to a debt bondsman signing over his labor
I
for 30
also
years.
fail to see the different... Wait, now I'm just sad. It's not the same thing?
Supposing you're...
No, I don't want you to do it.
Now tell me,
Abduction?
abduction? You mean the magistrate imprisoning his daughter in the cistern, I take it. He did so because she sought to escape, a sin I take particularly seriously. Better that he stops her from escaping, albeit brutishly, than I have to wipe out this entire city to punish her. Wouldn't you agree?
I don't know that I do. Maybe. Fair enough.
Now tell me, what others...
It's no wonder people say the gods are cruel. This just shows how unreliable and subjective your moral code is. You're no better at judging right from wrong than any human is. That's a kind of lovely conclusion to draw from this conversation.
Do you honestly think you could do better?
No, but that's my point. Nobody's grasp of right and wrong is so perfect that they can be trusted with all this power. You've become a tyrant. It's almost like codifying this sort of thing. It's the codifying that's the problem. It's not the question of what's right or wrong that is inherently the problem. It's the codifying of it. It's the category, like taking it and then turning it into a mass-produced stamp that you can just hit on the situations of individual people and be like, guilty, sinner, not a sinner. You become a tyrant.
I should strike you down for that.
And if you did, you'd be proving my point.
Now, did you have any other questions before your reckoning?
I wonder what my reckoning is.
Very well.
Talk about something else. That's all the questions I had.
Good. Then now
All right.
it is time for your reckoning.
Let's see.
Only, it seems, something is wrong. It has long been within my power to see into the hearts of mortals and weigh their deeds in life. But when I peer into you, I see only a blank slate, as if you did not exist until you appeared in this city. How is this possible?
Because I'm playing a video
Carol,
game.
Where did you find this one?
I do not remember ferrying you. How did you come here?
I'm from the future?
If that is true, then I sense the intervention of someone powerful.
How did you come to be in this time, mortal? Who brought you here?
He cannot know.
So is it saying I'm a blank slate because I restarted the time loop? Or... Because Karen definitely... I washed up on the shores. I had, as we've determined from one of the other endings, I had an obol in my pocket. I was hoping you could tell me.
I do not know. My kin departed long ago, and Proserpine has slumbered for 3,000 years.
Shouldn't you know this as the god of the underworld? What does it mean I'm a blank slate? That's a little confusing to me.
Tread lightly, mortal. Enough of this. It seems I will need to put your reckoning on hold for now. But answer this. Why have you come here? What is it you seek?
I seek to free Proserpine, I would say most of all. I'd like you to put an end to the golden rule. I want to get out of here, or I'll be going now. I want to put an end to the golden rule.
Your hubris is amusing, so I will allow you to make your case. But I warn you, if you anger me or waste my time with lies or wrong-headed arguments...
Okay, no pressure here.
You face death here.
No pressure.
So, tell me, why should I put an end to the so-called golden rule?
I love that we have to win an argument to win this game. How would you argue this? I would probably... I think this third option is the best option. For me. I would argue you've set up a situation... The introduction of the golden rule does not, is not a blanket you lay over the natural state of humans that just lays lightly upon them and allows them to live without sin or as they normally would. The golden rule is a threat, is hanging looming over their heads, and therefore those in power are going to abuse it. And as abusing it, they will also break the golden rule. Sentius currently is abusing it to keep himself in power and to keep the time loop going. But Malleolus, the minute he wins an election, threatening to get rid of the golden rule, he breaks the golden rule. This threat that looms ensures that people will sin because it's like a fear-mongering tactic. I'm going to go with that option. That's the one I'm most convinced by.
How so? And be specific. You have made a grave allegation, and I expect you to back it up.
Dacius is price gouging for life-saving medicine because he knows nobody can take it by force. Nobody can police him effectively. Rufius has become so paranoid that he's jumping at shadows like Virgil's sexuality. I'm less convinced by that one. Aurelia is exploiting people's desperation to escape by selling them hemlock. Malleolus has trapped people in debt bondage by convincing them rebelling would break your law. I'll start with that one.
His cruelty does seem to grow greater.
Yeah, for sure.
Day.
Dacius is price gouging.
True. I have witnessed him doing that.
Rufius is paranoid.
He is a volatile and confused fellow, that one.
Aurelia is exploiting people.
I admit, I have grown disturbed watching them. If you're right, my involvement has corrupted the very thing I sought to observe impartially. But if I were to accept that, are you telling me these humans could coexist peacefully, without theft or violence, without my law?
I was getting ready to say no, but I think they would strive, and I think their striving would be better than your threats. I think their striving would be or could be, not would be, because it's not necessarily the case. Free will matters. Our decisions matter. Our governance matters. But I would say we're given a much better chance to strive to do it than we are to be threatened by a god to do it. And of course, the ugly version of that is, no, but we're threatened by our governments to do it. Humans need to be able to use force in exceptional circumstances to correct their societies.
How so?
We use violence to discourage bad behavior, to neutralize criminals, and overthrow tyrants. I'm getting a little uncomfortable, but I can click it so far.
And how is that working?
Where I'm from, 2,000 years in the future, it is working pretty well. On average, life expectancy is climbing, crime rates are declining, freedom to live as you are and to express yourself as you are is higher. On the other hand, class mobility is really struggling.
So you say, and yet your world is still imperfect.
I would say our world is still important. The humans who exist on it are imperfect, and the so-called gods who are governing it are pretty damn imperfect. Our world will always be perfect, but the kind of force required to create a utopia inevitably results in tyranny.
You have spoken eloquently, and yet, if what you say is true, it follows that my wager was fatally flawed from the beginning. But that would mean Jupiter, Proserpina's father, who knew more about you than anyone, proposed a wager I could never win.
Oh.
Why would he do
Are we doing some self-reflecting here? Oh, Hades, god of the underworld. Are we starting to reflect on our own? Wait, am I the villain? Wait a second. What do I say here so that I don't piss him off? I'm really loving this conversation. The best of us humans is not the threat of force that we can level at each other. The best of us is the ability to communicate and reach common ground, and that's why I believe in the argument I made against him. Why would Proserpina propose a wager you could never win? Perhaps he made a mistake. Perhaps he wanted you to abandon the wager so Proserpina would be free from you. Perhaps he felt threatened by you. Perhaps he left you behind because even your own kin didn't want you. Let's say mistake. Perhaps he made a mistake.
A mistake? But he is the best and greatest of us.
Perhaps when you took on human form, you took on some human foibles as well?
Your words sting me, mortal. But perhaps it is what I deserve. As difficult as this is to admit, I have suspected as much for a long time now.
We've just won.
And I cannot deny it any longer. I've been so fixated on taking my beloved to Elysium that every time one of you sinned, it wore away my hope of being with her again. In time, I began to despise your kind for making her believe that you could ever be better than you are. But my rage was not born of malice. Quite the opposite. Everything I have done, I did because I loved her. Who knew this empathy of yours, which you celebrate so much, could have such a dark underside? This has gone on too long. It is time for me to let go of this form, of her, of all of you. But know this. If I abandon the wager and leave for Elysium, neither she nor your kind may ever ascend.
Just get a Steam achievement for talking my way through the confrontations. Why can't we go to Elysium?
Because doing so would violate the rules of my sacred agreement with Jupiter, and you would receive
I don't want Elysium. I want the world.
Reception.
And
the
so did
best I
Proserpina.
can do is return you to the land of the living.
That's what I want.
I will have Charon make arrangements to ferry the others. But as for you, be aware you will be separated from the rest.
This is the good ending, for sure. Why?
Once this exodus begins, the events that brought you to this moment will never have taken place, and you will have created a paradox. What will become of you is difficult to predict, but that is the risk you have taken by interfering in the natural flow of time. Now, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Farewell, mortal.
Farewell, Forgotten City, Hades. A Herculean task. It's done. That's got to be the good ending, right? Backwards? It's got to be the good ending. Al, my friend. Oh, interesting. Oh, things are a little different here. Very interesting.
Oh. Hi there. Gave me a bit of a fright. Thought I was in here alone. I'm Al.
Hi, Al. I came in here to find you.
Well, here I am. I'm sorry, I didn't catch you.
Didn't catch my name. I'm Little Indigestion. I was hoping you'd know who I am.
Know who you are? I barely remember how I got here myself. Oh, did that lady in the forest send you in here after me? I guess I lost track of time, learning about the history of this place, and it is extraordinary. I'm fairly certain you and I are the first people to set foot in this city for about 2,000 years. Fortunately for us, the last person in here was a Roman man named Galerius, who inscribed an account into a tablet. Apparently, there was a community of 20-something people trapped in here, and living in fear of a curse they called the Golden Rule. They believed that if even one person sinned, an unknown god would cast them all into gold, like the 1,000 people who'd lived here before them. Then, one day, just as Galerius had finished praying for a good harvest at the shrine of Proserpina, an oracle appeared and told him how to solve the ills of the city, like saving the life of a dying woman, preventing the suicide of a man in debt bondage, freeing a falsely accused prisoner, foiling an assassination attempt, and so on. Meanwhile, the oracle walked up to the temple of the mysterious god, this one right here, and demanded an audience. And the doors just opened up to him. Nobody knows what went on in there, but Galerius wrote the oracle must have been more persuasive than Odysseus, because the next thing he knew, the ground shook and the voice of that god rang out over the city. The many have suffered long enough. Unfortunately, Galerius' account just sort of stops after that, leaving a lot of questions unanswered. What became of him and the other people who lived here? What happened to all the golden statues? And did this mysterious oracle single-handedly undo the curse that had terrorized people for hundreds of years?
These Romans are crazy.
I don't know, it reads like an earnest account to me. Anyway, I think I found a way out through the aqueduct that brought water into the city. Follow me.
Right behind you. Hell yeah. Speaking with Karen? Oh, this has been fun. Oh, this has been real good. Let me guess.
I'm gonna pause here for a moment.
Make sure nobody ever gets lured in. Hell yeah. I think we probably missed a bad ending, and it probably happens if you try and draw a bow versus Hades or lose the argument in some way. And that's fine. We don't need to get that ending. I'm very happy with the endings we've gotten today.
You're back. But you're alone. Does that mean you didn't
I'm going to miss this game. I'm going to miss this puzzle. I wish there was more of it. I wish it was a community of 400 people and I had so many more fates to solve. I found him. He'll be here in a moment.
Oh, what a relief. Thank you so much. I was beginning to think you'd both become trapped in there. Why don't you tell me what you discovered while we wait?
If we do the... I discovered you're not who you said you were. I remember meeting you 2,000 years ago.
Ah, I see. I thought you might.
We're going to skip
Well,
any copy stuff
now
here.
you know. I suppose you have questions.
Who are you really?
You can just call me Charon. If I do
Charon.
not enjoy deceiving people. Believe me, that most people...
The truth of their own death. How did I die?
Most souls would ask yourself on it.
I really want to know.
As you
were murdered, forgotten relics.
Nearby, you both there was no heat that man.
Al's a good
you
guy.
each in
Pluto said the coins Al and I had were the last in existence. What does that mean for you?
It means I am now bereft of purpose. There is nobody else to ferry here. Nobody to keep you company. After 5,000 years, the underworld has finally run its course.
What's so special about these coins? We've already heard that one, right?
Perhaps you have heard the tales of the Greeks and Romans.
Yeah.
It means there is no...
Can you return us to the land of the living?
I see no point in keeping you here. But I have to ask one thing. That you keep this to yourself.
Look! Here comes Al now. Al! It's...
Kind of lost track of time in there. And there was a tablet describing an oracle who confronted a god and undid an ancient curse.
Sounds like quite a story. And I look forward to hearing all about it. But... you two look exhausted. Why don't you hop in my boat and rest while I ferry you back to civilization?
Sounds good to me.
And you? Are you ready to go home?
I'm ready. Ferry us home. That's gonna do it, I'm sure. 1 year later, it's not gonna do it. It's not gonna do it. White hallway. White hallway. Ah! We're in a museum. Reception hall. Ancient Rome, Greece, Egypt, and Sumer. Is this Al?
Hey, you made it. It's great to see you again. I read your book, and what the critics said about it. I guess they weren't ready for your theories about the underworld. Anyway, after everything you've been through, I thought you might appreciate some good news. So after we got back to the real world, I started doing some research into the people mentioned in Galerius's tablet, and I found something strange. I'm sorry I've been so cryptic. I've been dying to tell you. I just really wanted you to see this for yourself. Why don't you head on down there? I'll catch up with you at the other end.
The people in the tablet. This is all of them individually? Oh my god. They're individual people. They're real people. This is them. They're all invited to this ancient Roman statue of an unknown man, inscrutable pose. One hand seems to welcome, the other hand warns. Galerius, Equitia, Horatius, Cynthia, Lucretia, Julia, Georgius. That's got to be it, 100%. This is so weird.
Finally here. Remember me?
Weird. Galerius, what are you doing here?
It's a crazy story. After you disappeared, Charon appeared and told us she was returning us to the world. Even gave us some coins to help us start our lives over. Only, for some reason, she returned us to your world instead of ours. Anyway, I know we only ever had that one conversation, and I wasn't even sure if you'd remember me, but...
yeah, only one.
I wanted to say thanks for freeing us from the underworld and giving us a second chance at life.
Is it terrible of me that the introvert in me is like, you're telling me I have to talk to each of these people individually again? Are you shitting me? That's the introvert being like, oh my god, we're going from one party to another party? What are you doing with yourself these days?
Oh, I used Charon's gift to buy a farm in
Farming.
Umbria. Got a villa on it too, with enough room for Dooley, of course. It's hard work, but I sleep soundly
Dooley.
every
That's
night.
Dooley sitting there.
I'm finally my own man, and I wouldn't change it for the world.
You with Equitia?
I know. I can't believe my luck either. But we're engaged and living together.
What a
we're planning to
cool
get married next
twist.
spring. If you're going to be around, we'd
To
love
walk
to
around
see
the
you
corner and see that the people you've gotten to know and the people you've cared for in your own way, count me in, are here and living real lives that it makes the effect of your actions seem greater because they're real.
Of course. There's a whole museum full
They're
of
real
people
and
waiting
still
for
living.
a chance to thank you. So you better keep moving. We'll speak again soon, my friend.
Salve. Salve, friend.
Oh, hello.
Oh, hello, Dooley. Hello. Oh, hello.
You're here. It's so wonderful to see you again.
Aw, good to see you too, Equitia.
So, you're the hero who somehow vanquished the last of the Roman
Hey, how do you pronounce your
gods.
name?
As I'm a priestess, you realize you've put me out of work.
Oh.
I'm just teasing. Actually, and it still feels a little sacrilegious to say this, I'm finding life after religion quite enjoyable.
How's Livia?
Oh, it's sweet of you to ask. She recovered nicely. In fact, she's here somewhere, if you'd like to ask her yourself.
I'll do that. What are you doing with yourself?
Galerius and I are engaged.
Expecting.
Expecting. We've just bought a lovely villa in the countryside, with room for a large family, and Dooley too,
Aw.
of course.
Galerius'
It
love
feels
for
like
Dooley.
The world has just opened up for us. There's so much to learn, and so many more possibilities for our children than we ever imagined. We're just so thankful for what you did for us, for all of us.
Imagine the whiplash of having to come into the current time
See you
from
at the wedding, I hope.
2,000 years ago. Hi, Dooley.
Hello, I'm Dooley.
I'm Dooley. I remember who you are.
Galerius said you're very nice and a big helper. Thank you for getting us out of the bad place. I didn't like it.
You're welcome. What are you doing with yourself?
I live at Galerius and Equitia's house.
Equitia.
They look after me now and help me remember when I forget things, like brushing my teeth.
Sorry you never found your treasure.
Treasure? Oh, I forgot about that. I like my box now. Galerius got me a box that tells stories. It's my favourite thing.
iPod? Phone? A TV? Glad you're happy. Story boxes are great. Probably a TV.
Yeah, they're fun.
Good to see you.
Bye-bye.
There he is.
Relief of Proserpina. Relief depicting a great circular portal and Proserpina, the Roman goddess of the cycle of life and renewal, who was abducted by Pluto and forced into marriage against her will.
It's you.
It's me. It's Ben. Oh, this is cool. It's stuff from the time. Yeah, it's stuff from the
Oh, hello.
Horatius staring at his stuff. Gotta be.
Hi there, I'm Horatius.
Hi, Horatius.
I understand we have you to thank for giving us a second chance at life, and reuniting Scintilla with us as well. So, thank you.
What are you doing with yourself these days?
I'm living up north and studying in the military academy in Modena. I'm going to be an officer one day. The world's changed a lot, but some things stay the same. Would you believe we're still studying military tactics from my time? Alexander the Great, Caesar, Hannibal Barca.
Hey, stoicism is all the rage
I
these
have to keep
days.
challenging myself to let go of old ways of thinking and embrace the new. As Seneca wrote, the ones who pioneered our paths aren't our masters, but our guides.
Ugh. Horatius, I like you. Sorry you never got to see your girl again.
Ah, you remembered that. Thank you.
I did not, but
I grieved for a time, but that's done. In the words of Epictetus, as those who rode behind triumphant generals remind them they are mortal, remind yourself your precious one isn't one of your possessions,
aw.
but something given for now, not forever. Thanks.
Shit.
And you. Farewell.
Fuck.
Hey,
Hi, Cynthia.
I take it you're the Oracle. Thanks for coming.
Good to see you.
Actually, I changed my name to
Oh.
Cynthia. I didn't want to be associated with Sentius after what happened.
Yeah, that makes
I'm not
sense.
sure if you heard, but after you drove Pluto off, Proserpina emerged from the Great Temple. She knew right away what none of us had figured out about that psychopath. He'd been keeping my little sister locked up in the upper cistern all that time. But he's been dealt with. He's... you know what? The important thing is, we'll never see him again.
Is he a golden statue? What happened to him? What happened to him?
He's still there.
Yeah.
All alone. the last golden statue in the underworld.
Conscious forever.
Trapped in a metal shell, slowly losing his mind until the end of time. Eternal torment. Just what he deserves, if you ask me.
He did once tell me he wanted to live forever.
Then I suppose he got his wish.
What are you doing with yourself these days?
Anything I want. I'm a woman of means in a vast new world. I can go wherever and do whatever I please.
I like that they have their money
I mostly just stay in my villa
taken
and
care
have
of
my servant
for
Alexa
them.
summon things for me.
Alexa.
Because it's just awful out there. Barbarians everywhere.
Oh, of course. Barbarians everywhere.
You too. See you around.
Yes, Cynthia.
Hi there.
Hello.
Large stone statue of Apollo. Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to look directly at it. The Roman and Greek god of disease and healing, among other things. Hi, Yulia.
You're the Oracle, right?
That's me.
Oh, of course. Sorry. And I never got a chance to thank you for telling Galerius how to save my life.
You're-
And of course, getting me and all of us out of a terrible situation.
What are you doing with yourself these days?
Oh, I barely recognize myself. I'm living in a house share in London with my wonderful girlfriend. And I'm studying English at university. Eventually, I want to travel the world and write about it. Turns out, it's about 30 times bigger than the Roman Empire ever was. Did you know there are entire continents Rome never knew existed? And you can travel almost anywhere in an aircraft, which is rather like flying on a Pegasus, but much more comfortable. Oh, sorry, you already know all that, of course. I'm just so excited. There's so much to see and learn and write about.
You've got a, what's that French phrase? A, like, vive de... The, like, de joie one? Like, you've got a verve to you now. Vive de joie? What is that? Anyways. I'm glad you're happy.
I really am.
What happened to Malleolus and Claudia?
Last I heard, Malleolus kept insisting he was the last rightful ruler of the Roman Empire, and wound up being committed to a psychiatric hospital.
That's sad.
As for Claudia, she was always so viciously unhappy. Someone said she'd blown all her money on wine, trying to drink herself back to the underworld. After the horrific way they treated Ulpius and me, I can't help feeling a sense of... what's that German word? Schadenfreude?
I think you're allowed to feel that way.
Thank you. You're very kind.
What happened to Aurelia?
Ugh. Someone told me she was boasting about getting her claws into some rich prince, and how she was going to be living the high life from now on. Even in your time, life still isn't fair. Apparently, he'd proposed before they'd even met. And last I heard, she'd bought herself a first-class one-way ticket to join him in some exotic place called... what was it? Nigeria? Some people have all the luck.
Aurelia got scammed. Oh my god, I believed that for a second. Something tells me she's going to get what she deserves.
Well, you are the Oracle, so I suppose I'll take your word for it. Huh. I feel better already. Thank you.
Incredible. What an incredible detail to include at the end there.
You too. If you're ever in London, let me know. We can go to bars and drink wine and listen to the stories of the 9 million people who live there.
Let's do it.
I
I'll take you up on that. So I wonder if everyone's going to be here. Obviously not, right? No Aurelia, no Malleolus, Claudia, Lucretia.
You are here. It's nice to finally
I love
meet
Lucretia's voice. It's so warm. Hi, Lucretia.
Lucy is fine. I'm making
Lucy.
an effort to blend in, as you can see.
Lucy, Lucretia
We're all
for
trying
short.
to keep a low
Or
profile.
Lucy for short.
If the world knew we died 2,000 years ago and were suddenly brought back to life 12 months ago, they'd never leave us alone. Speaking of which, I wanted to say thank you in person. I'd say the gods smile on you, but I hear you drove the last of them off. So...
what are you doing with yourself these days?
I'm studying to get into medical school. As much as I resented the responsibility of keeping everyone in the city alive, When it ended, I realized I missed it. So I guess I'll just keep saving the world, if begrudgingly, one patient at a time.
Plus, medicine is way different these days. It's good to see you, Lucy.
You too. Don't be a stranger.
Perfect. Statue.
Hello.
We got... What is this?
Greetings.
Oh, this is the bathtub. This is the hermit philosopher with the bathtub. Nice bow tie.
I
Ooh.
take it you're the oracle everybody's talking about.
Bow tie's incredible.
It's a pleasure to finally meet
But
you.
its physics are a little weird. We've met before, but I wouldn't expect you to remember it.
We have. I'm sorry, I don't remember.
Philip?
In any case, I'm Philip. I never thought I'd leave that cave, let alone the city. And now I'm living in the 21st century. What a time to be alive. And it seems I have your catabasis to thank for it.
Catabasis? What are you doing with yourself these days?
I'm working as a consultant to the Faculty of Classics at Cambridge University, helping fill the odd gap in their knowledge. Not that I need the money, but I do love being around enlightened minds again. My
Good to see
sincere
you.
thanks once again.
What's your name? If you're watching this right now, what is this person like? Is this based off of a specific philosopher? If so, please let me know which one.
Hello.
Magnificent museum, is it
Demeter,
not?
goddess of the harvest, mother of Persephone, or Persephone.
Greetings. You must be the legendary oracle. It is a sincere privilege to finally make your acquaintance. I am Georgius.
I am Georgius. Good to see you.
I am told we have you to thank for freeing us from Hades, and for that, I am most grateful.
What are you doing with yourself these days?
I am reacquainting myself with Greece. It has changed so much over the last 2,000 years, I barely recognize it.
Aw.
This is at once heartbreaking and thrilling. Perhaps
I love the
one
purple.
day, once I have seen all of this new Greece and sampled her delights, I will settle down in Santorini in a villa overlooking the Azure Aegean Sea. I hope you will join me there and regale me with the story of how you faced off against the fearsome god of the underworld and won.
I'll be there. Good to see you, Georgius.
You too, my friend.
Fabia.
You're the one we've been waiting for. I'm Fabia.
Hi, Fabia.
I wanted to say thanks for sending Galerius to save my life. I don't know how you knew, but I would have been crushed by
Of course,
that shrine
Fabia
for
would
sure.
be the one to wear like leopard print. Like in real life, Fabia would. In today's life, absolutely, Fabia would be the one to do it. You're welcome.
I'm just so happy to be here with you and everyone together again, even if it's just for one more night.
This part right here. This part of the game is making me think of like the TV show Lost a little bit, like in specifically one way. In specifically the like these people bonded by trauma stuck in one place. That's all I'm trying to say about Lost. Not any spoilers. Like they're all back together. It's like a high school reunion except for people who survived a plane crash. Except it was the Forgotten City. What are you doing with yourself?
Well, it's not like I have to work with all the silver Charon gave me, so I just do what makes me happy. Mostly that means baking for my friends and looking at memes while binging TV shows in yoga pants.
Looking at memes.
What a time to be alive.
What a time to be alive, Fabia. I'm glad you're happy.
Thank you. I really am.
Good. Good to see you.
You too.
Man, we really are extroverting hard at this party, huh?
Some
Oh
soiree,
my
innit?
god. Please keep off the furniture. Even clean hands can damage the fragile surfaces. Dacius? You look like a
hello at last.
snake oil salesman.
You must be the oracle I've heard so much about. I'm Dacius.
Hi, Dacius. What are you selling?
Listen, I wanted to express my sincere appreciation for what you did. If it wasn't for you, I'd never been able
Useless
to sell all
old
those
relics.
useless old relics I accumulated.
Turns out.
Whatever you did in that temple made me a very wealthy man. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Most gracious of you.
That other line said, no need to thank me. It was entirely unintended. What are you doing with yourself these days?
I took the money I made from selling my trinkets and started investing in the stock market.
Please tell me you're in
That's where
crypto.
the real money is now. In fact, I was hoping to ask your advice, you being the oracle and future seer and all that, on which stocks I should invest in next. I can't decide between fossil fuels, tobacco, gambling, and arms. What would you recommend?
I wouldn't help you even if I could.
Oh, don't be like that. You can tell your old pal Dacius. I won't take no for an answer.
DVD rentals have a bright future. Print media is going to make a huge comeback. As a writer, I have to pick that.
Oh, of course, yeah. I was just thinking the same thing. I'll go home and buy up as much stock as I can
Oh, my
tonight.
God.
I'm going to make a bloody fortune.
All right, well, Dacius, it
of
was
course,
a...
don't let me keep you.
It was a
Thanks
pleasure.
again for the tips, my friend.
Of course.
Good evening.
Good evening. Octavia.
Oh, hello. It's lovely to meet you. I've heard so much about you.
Nice to see you.
I'm thankful that you're here. I was sure the person who drove off the last pagan god would have more important things to do than visit the likes of us. But thank you for coming and for saving our lives. What you did was extraordinary, and I'll never forget it.
I don't know. It wasn't all that extraordinary. It was just mostly thorough. Mostly what I did was I just paid a lot of attention over a lot of time and exhausted all dialogue options. That's the real hero of this game, is exhausting all dialogue options.
I'm living in Rome again, in a charming little flat by the Tiber. Not far from my old place. Oh, and I'm training to be a crisis counselor.
Interesting. Crisis
After
counselor?
you sent Galerius to persuade Ulpius not to take his own life, I was inspired. I just want to spend the rest of my life helping people, like you helped him.
Sounds like a noble cause. Good on you.
Thank you. That means a lot.
Good to see you.
And you. Oh, and I hope this isn't too forward, but some of us are going out for a drink after this, if you'd like to join us.
Is Octavia flirting with me? I'm in.
Wonderful. I'll see you soon.
Livia.
Greetings.
Good to see you looking well, Livia.
Thank you for your kind words and
Honestly, you kind
for
of look like shit.
liberating us all. In all the time I was in the underworld, I never once imagined that I might end up in a place so much like Elysium.
Oh, that's cool. Read any good poems lately?
Ah, you remember that. I'm a little tired of Ovid, but that's all right. I have 2,000 years worth of poetry to catch up on now. I'm already up to the 19th century, and am quite enjoying the work of a fellow named Poe. I think I may have found a kindred spirit.
How do you feel about Keats?
Men have called me mad, but the question is not yet settled whether madness is or is not the loftiest intelligence.
Well said. What are you doing with yourself?
I'm recovering. Octavia was kind enough to let me stay with her for a while. At least until I'm well enough to be independent again.
It's good to see you.
And you. Farewell, friend.
Salve, friend. Anubis. Ancient Egyptian god of mummification and embalming, among other things.
It is an honor to finally meet you, Oracle.
Hi, Kabash. Thanks.
You know my name?
We did meet.
Oh, of course. You are an Oracle. You know many things. I too would like to offer my thanks for releasing us from that place, and for your role in bringing us here. This world is truly wondrous.
I bet the dialogue for him is the same every time, because you cannot possibly have met... Is it true that you cannot possibly have met Kabash on the same time loop that you beat the game? I think that's correct. What are you doing with yourself?
For a time, I returned to Alexandria, but they have no need of another fisherman, and I came to see there is nothing for me there. Instead, I have decided to follow the custom of your youths and backpack the world. It is a great adventure, and I have met many people from many cultures. I spent the first 25 years of my life avoiding the 42 sins that would deny me access to the afterlife. Now, I think it is time I had some fun.
Hell yeah. You've earned it.
Indeed.
Good to see you.
Thank you, Oracle.
All right, what else we got here? Herti. Scintilla.
Hello there.
Hello there.
Oh, I go by Gabriella now.
Ah, probably
I didn't
smart.
want to be reminded of that monster every time I heard my own name. After you drove Pluto off, Proserpina came and released me, and that monster got what was coming to him.
Sounds like he got what he deserved.
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing with yourself these days?
I'm living with Ulpius on a little vineyard in Umbria. It's even more wonderful than I dreamed it would be. I'm so grateful to you for making sure he's still with us. If you're ever passing through the region, I hope you'll come and visit us. You can try some of our very own wine.
I'll do that. Good to see you.
Thanks. You too.
Gabriella.
Hi. It's nice to finally put a face to the name.
Hi, Ulpius.
I'm Ulpius.
Good to see
I
you.
understand I have you to thank for sending Galerius to save my life. The way you just showed up out of the blue and stopped me from making a terrible mistake, I'll be forever in your debt.
It's really nice to be thanked for the work you've done, even if it is just a video game. It's just kind, right? It's just like, it's just meaning and meaningful. I love it. What are you doing with yourself?
I'm living with Gabriella in Umbria. We finally bought the little vineyard we always dreamed of. It'll be a little while before we know what we're doing, but every day I look at her and this extraordinary new world with all its beauty, and I think, what if I'd given up hope and missed out on all of this? So we're living each day to the fullest. And we end them all the same way, sitting together on our terrace with a glass of our wine, which the locals say is almost drinkable now, and watching the sunset over the rolling hillside. And I couldn't be happier.
I'm so glad.
Thank you. I wouldn't be here without you. You too.
Good to see you.
Evening.
Hello. Rufius and Virgil. I was like, Rufius and Rufius? Rufius and Virgil. Good to see the two of you hanging out. You two, what did you say your name was?
I go by Rufus now.
Rufus.
New start, new name. Oh, and thanks, by the way, for what you did. Sorry, I'm no good with the mushy stuff.
Turns out you were right. The statues really were watching us.
Huh. Good to know. Anyway, it was good practice for the new world. Security cameras and smartphones everywhere. Got to stay vigilant.
That's true.
Hmm.
What are you doing with yourself?
I live with Virgil in Rotterdam, not far from where he grew up. It's very modern.
And they were roommates?
Destroyed in the war, and it rebuilt itself.
Aw, I like this ending.
Good place for a fresh start. Haven't decided what I'm going to do with my life yet. One adjustment at a time.
Good to see you.
You too. Look us up next time you're in the Netherlands. We're grateful.
Hell yeah.
It's so nice to finally meet you. I've heard so much about you.
You're right, we've never met. Good to see you.
I wanted to thank you personally for getting us out of there. And for helping Rufus come to terms with himself. He may come off a little gruff, but once you get past that, he's a lovely fellow.
In a weird way, you guys make a lot of sense. What are you doing with yourself these days?
I'm studying to be an architect again, and living with Rufus in our beautiful flat in Rotterdam. Just down the river from Nijmegen, where I grew up. Of course, it's improved immensely since I was there last. Gleaming futuristic buildings and clean streets full of educated, accepting people. You natives of the 21st century have no idea how fortunate you are.
What a way to phrase that. Natives of the 21st century. You're telling me none of these people are absolutely losing their shit about the world they inherited? There's no culture shock? None of them are just like, freaking the fuck out.
You too. As Rufus said in his own laconic way, if you're ever in the Netherlands, we'd love to show you around. It's the least we could do.
I'll take you up on that.
Hi.
Okay. What's next? Got other, as an archaeologist. Other things to look at. All must walk this path to where the laws of day help the virtuous to paradise in the city beneath the earth. The ravenous hunger of the avaricious is sated at the banks of the stream, but in vain, for none from here may yet return. This is Al at the end, right?
There you are. I hope you enjoyed that.
I did.
Now, there's one more person I wanted to introduce you to.
It's got to be Proserpina. 100%. Yeah, 100%. It's got to be Proserpina.
Sorry if I frightened you.
Oh.
Just a little joke I've been saving for a long, long time.
Oh, I had chills. That was crazy. I recognize that voice.
Allow me to introduce myself properly. I am Proserpina, former goddess of the cycle of life and renewal, and now a regular mortal. I wanted to meet you in person, and thank you for freeing all these people, and me. I hate to think what would have happened to us without your intervention.
I really like her voice. Holy shit. You were whispering to me all along.
Indeed. Suffice it to say that while Pluto was controlling the eyes and ears of each golden statue, I was able to control their tongues and whisper to you when he was distracted. I am sorry my messages were so cryptic. There were only ever brief windows in which I could speak to you without being detected.
You did what you could. Thank you. You created the time loop?
I did. I may have given up my immortality, but I still retain my gifts as the goddess of the cycle of life and renewal.
Still? Right now?
After witnessing Pluto punish countless poor souls over thousands of years, I knew this generation, the final wave, would not survive. So I tried to give them a way to buy more time. A second chance. Rather, as many second chances
probably
as they
like
needed
12
to
or
avoid his
13
wrath.
chances. I don't know
So
how many
I
it
whispered
took.
to Sentius in secret, telling him the prayer required to create a portal in my shrine. I knew the danger of humans being corrupted by godly power, and so I put a safeguard in place. I required the creator of the portal to sacrifice their own life, so that it could only be used selflessly to help others. What I did not anticipate is that Sentius would retain his accumulated memories from each previous day, and as a veteran soldier, he had long since shed his fear of death. He quickly discovered that he could, in effect, prolong his own life indefinitely by exploiting the cycle. Of course, once I had taught him the prayer, I could not unteach him, and there was little I could do but wait for someone like you to come along and see him for what he was. We were all fortunate you came along when you did.
What became of Pluto?
I don't know what happened to him. I haven't heard from him, and I rather hope it stays that way.
What about Karen?
Oh, she inherited dominion over the underworld. Last time we spoke,
Yikes.
she was working
Forgotten
on a
City
new world
2.
of some kind. She wouldn't say what it was, but I'd be surprised if you don't run into her again. I imagine we all will, one day.
It was nice to meet you.
And you, although it feels like I've known you forever. Oh, and one last thing. Do you remember all those golden
Is it
statues
the people below
scattered
us?
throughout the city?
Yes.
Good, because they remember you. Well done, my friend.
Oh, that's creepy.
Of all the heroes who ever journeyed to the underworld and returned, none came close to achieving what you did. Hercules, Orpheus, Theseus, and Aeneas would be
Thank you,
proud.
thank you. Ending 404. This is the canon ending. Oh, incredible. Incredible. What a game. What a game. I really like The Forgotten City, of course. You've heard me sing praises. I like the final ending a bunch. I like it a lot. I have a minor qualm with the final ending, which is that I think it suffers a little bit from trying too hard to explain itself. And there's nothing necessarily wrong with that. It might just be a style taste thing from my perspective. But I'm not actually sure that having everything answered in voice lines from people is a strength. Sometimes saying a little less is actually saying more in terms of, you know, leaving somebody with a productive question rather than just explaining absolutely everything. That said, I love the game. I really did. I really enjoyed it. I also, speaking of questions, I do still have a few questions. Sin dia def. Sin dia def? What does it mean? Feel free to answer down below in the comments. What does sin.dia.def mean? Probably Latin. I could probably Google it. Is the philosopher based on somebody in particular? Was I actually speaking with Socrates or Plato? I have no idea. Those are the main questions I have. I don't think that there's anything else I'm still working with. We've covered a lot over the last many episodes, and I thank you for sticking with me through it. Yeah, I think this game's incredible. I think it's a really fun experience. I think it's a fun little puzzle, fun big puzzle. And I liked it. I am amazed. I did not think before playing this game that you could really make a fun and effective game that is so philosophical. And this game is philosophical to its core. And I love that. I didn't think you could, and they did, and it was fun, and I would recommend it. And that's awesome. And it's a mystery, a philosophical mystery? The fuck? That shouldn't happen. I loved it. I'll be thinking about it for a while. I'll be thinking about it, I'm sure, for many months and years to come. Thank you so much for watching this series. I really hope you have enjoyed it. If you have, don't forget to leave a like on this video. I also want to just say a big thank you to our Patreon supporters who make this whole me making videos, this whole endeavor possible. Truly, thank you to the Patreon supporters. Your support means the world and allows me to do this as my job, and I'm so grateful. I get to sit here. It's 10 o'clock on a Monday. My family's asleep, and I'm sitting here thinking, playing a video game and thinking out loud and exercising my brain and trying my best to notice as much as possible and put my words together as clearly and cleanly as possible in a way that might provide some sort of insight or value to you or entertain you at the very least. And that's a dream. Thank you to the Patreon supporters and to everybody who supports. I'll see you another time for another video. If this is your first series on our channel, might I recommend you some games? You might like a little game called Tunic. You might enjoy Outer Wilds, but first you should play both of those games yourselves. Return of the Obra Dinn is a similar game in terms of that can't be possible to do. Oh my god, it's possible to do. Obra Dinn, incredible. Maybe enjoy another series from our channel, and otherwise I'll see you out there on the wide plains of the internet at some other point. Bye-bye. See ya. Bye-bye. Thanks for being here.